Well, we're back at it. Up at the barn this time, I had a big old sycamore trunk that's been laying up there for about 6 months or so. It was a standing dead, and I cut it down. Um, but it had a little bit of sap still running up the middle, and actually at the top there was some leaf. But like 90% of the tree was being strangled out by a vine that we have growing down here in Tennessee. I don't know what it is, but it strangles the trees when it gets up in it. Um, yeah, I gotta invest in a either a better chain sharpener or just invest maybe some time in sharpening. This chain I sharpened right before I came up here, and it just wouldn't bite. It felt sharp. The teeth felt very sharp, but it just wouldn't bite into the wood. And really, you know how when you got a good chain, it'll bite right into the wood and then draws itself in. It just wants to chop that wood up. It wasn't the case, and I'm certain it was my sharpening job. I It looked like I had one side sharper than the other. The chainsaw kept running to the left on me, and usually that's an indication that you got one set of teeth maybe sharper than the other one side. The other issue might be my rakers. I don't always do them, maybe like every second or third time, and I know I haven't done it at least in two sharpenings. But the chain that I have on there is probably well over a year old, and I use my chainsaw multiple times a week. Gets a lot of work, um, and sometimes you just run them through their course. So the first cut was lousy. I didn't get it straight at all. That's why I just cut it and left. And then the one I'm hoisting up on top of the trunk of the tree is the one that I'm going to use. I was very upset with myself on that front cut, and I had some very choice words to say. And I, of course, cut that out. I didn't want anybody seeing that. Not that they couldn't handle it, just because it wasn't necessary to see a grown man having a temper tantrum. So I hustled myself back down to get the tractor. Still kind of coping with my injury from a couple of weeks ago, a week ago or so. So I'm taking it easy. I normally would have just carried this chunk of wood down. It's not incredibly heavy, but I decided to play it safe and use the tractor. Just got myself a 4 foot level here and a Sharpie. I'm gonna duct tape it to the 4 foot level and then transfer a line around the outside of this log, and that'll be my level line. It worked out pretty well. Um, I just went around, 2 or 3 times to make sure I had a clear mark I could see. So we jump right into it. I tried my new wheel, and it did not work the way I was anticipating it. So I changed back to this chainsaw wheel that I have. It's a chainsaw chain, um, and it basically functions the same way. It gives you that kind of power to, not necessarily cut through the wood so much, as it is to chip it out, and take it away. You'll see here in a second. If I held it straight into the wood like a chainsaw, it would cut just like that. you just don't have much depth at all. It's very limited. I bought the stool that this log is on. I think I got it from Lowe's, and it was such a piece of crap. I mean, it really was. I was so disappointed in it. It was so flimsy, and I'm not a little guy, but I'm only 200 pounds, and it just, it would rock up, and the wheels, or not the wheels, all the bolts would fall off, and nuts would fall off, and you put thread lock on, and then they just break on you, and it was such a cheap stool. It sits outside the shop now, and I use it from time to time, but a lot of times it's just to set something on like this. So this wheel really makes the sawdust fly, as you can see. It actually hits you in the face and it hurts because it's coming off the wheel so fast. I wear safety goggles, but you still get hit in the cheeks and the face a little bit, in the forehead. The Sycamore's got some really nice wood in the middle. This piece in particular has got a lot of spalting and a lot of red, and like, I don't know if it's called heartwood, but it's just, you can see it. It's a darker wood, and it almost looks like it's wet. And it's not wet to the touch, but apparently it does have moisture in it. In an object this size, you really just got to be patient and take your time. It's just going to take you a while before you even get down to the size where you can start really sculpting. So, and I kept having to tell myself that, slow down, Steve. It's going to take a while. No matter how hard you try, it's going to take a while no matter what. So just, I have to remind myself of those things very often. You can see my strokes are much more deliberate right now. And then I'll probably change in a moment or so and get all willy-nilly again. It sure is fun making sawdust, though. I love a big pile of sawdust. As you can tell, I'm outside the shop there and it's just covered. And you just keep working it. What's nice about a project like this is you can just stop at any moment and pick it up at any moment, right? I'm not gluing anything up. There's no primal, no primal cuts. I'm thinking of butchering. There's no significant cuts or anything I need to make. I mean, quite frankly, I don't even think I measured. No, I didn't. I never measured anything, not even to see how thick the piece of wood was. Which I think is why it's so liberating to do, because you can just kind of let the tools and your imagination take over, and you're not held to making perfect cuts and making nice 45s and things like that. If you're doing trim or something like that, that stuff will drive you nuts. Putting crown molding up, oh. So back at it in some high speed. I'm using the chainsaw wheel still, but I do go back to this red wheel that I bought. It's just an aggressive wheel that really, there it is. It just has some really sharp blades on it that cut into it. And it works better. It worked better after I had a few moments and really figured out the sweet spot. Like any wheel, it bites at certain angles, and and glides across things at other angles. So, but I used it a good deal to finish up a big part of this bowl. She's looking
That's what I
good.
got done today. Just rough shape. I'm gonna let it sit for a few days. I think the inside needs to dry a little bit. So I'll let it sit for a few more days, then I'll bring it inside and let it sit for a few more days. And I'll probably get some cracks out of it, but I'll fix them and then I can continue carving. That's kind of what I'm thinking. So she's gonna be big.
Well, there you go, folks. I'll let it, like I said, I'll let it set up for a few days and get a little firmer. Maybe the moisture that's in it's just from sitting in the rain the last few weeks, and it'll come out pretty quick. But I don't. What I don't want to do is have the bowl be super thin and then have a crack appear, and I don't have enough wood left on the bowl to fix the crack properly. I'm thinking if it cracks now, why I still have it pretty thick, I can mend it and then sand its seam down, and I could still make it look halfway decent. That's my thinking anyhow. So I'll be back at it, maybe just not right away. We'll see. Thanks for watching, folks. Have a good night.